feels big.
When bass get suspended, they can be very tough to catch. In this episode, I'm going to share with you 4 great lures and techniques to catch suspended bass. Stay tuned.
Shane Flint Outdoors, brought to you by Omnia Fishing. Experience the most personalized tackle shopping on earth. Also by Bent Rod Fishing. Get bent, stay bent.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! What a big girl!
Hey everybody, thanks for stopping back by the channel. In this episode, I'm going to share with you 4 great lures that I use to catch suspended bass. But what do I mean by suspended bass? Let me start with that. Suspended bass are usually in the middle of the water column. And they can be in the middle of the lake, they can be in the middle of a big cove, but they're usually not associated with cover or rocks or any type of other things that we typically look at to catch bass, right? A lot of bass fishing are object fishermen. We like to throw next to a tree or throw up against the bank or throw up against a bridge or a riprap. But a lot of times the bass get out and they suspend. And they suspend, I find it mostly in the summer and fall and sometimes in the winter. But summer, fall is a really common time that bass get suspended. They usually are chasing some type of bait fish. Maybe it's shad, whatever your forage is in your lake, they're usually chasing some type of bait fish. And typically we don't find them unless either they start busting the top of the water because they're hitting shad or bait fish, and then we go, what's going on in the middle of the lake? And we get out there and we start catching them, or we run over them with our electronics and go, what are all these fish at 12 feet at 20 in this 24 depth water? And you know, forward facing sonar or downward facing sonar is, you know, 2 ways to find them on your electronics. But when they are like that, they can get tough to catch, but they can also be you can catch a lot when they're really chasing shad and things of that nature. So there's 4 baits that I like to use. And the first one I'm going to talk to you about, I call the chatter swim. And this is something I kind of designed myself. I'm not the inventor of it, but it's just a big eye chatterbait head. You can buy these at Omnia or Tackle Warehouse. And all I do is I just put a Swimbait head on it. It's got basically a chatterbait. And you ask, well, why don't you just throw a chatterbait? Well, when they're chasing shad, they're looking for a minnow type bait. And I just give them what they're looking for, right? So I'll throw this out into the middle of the lake. And once I figure out what depth they're hanging out in, I will either just pump this through, because it gives this chatterbait head gives a lot of erratic action, and just kind of let it fall and pump it through the depth that I think they're hanging out in and catch them. There's 2 ways I fish it. Either I pump it or I sweep it once it falls to the depth that I want it to be at to catch fish. Here's an example of a catch and a little bit of how I rigged this up with this chatter swim. Take a look.
Come on. Good one. That's like a good one. Ah, it's 2 pounder. Come on. Yeah, nice, solid 2.5 pound bass right there. Yeah. Nice chunker. Caught that on the chatter swim. Caught him on the chatter swim. I've been switching between Carolina rig. Look at him. Carolina rig and my chatter swim. Haven't watched my channel. I haven't fished a lot this year. It's just a chatterbait head with a big 5-inch Kitch swim bait on it. Works out real well. So let's show you how I'm rigging this real quick. So all this is a big eye chatterbait head, right, with the chatter blade on it. Just eyeing it right through there. Pulling it up. Putting it over the collar. Voila, you have a swim bait chatterhead. Now look, is it better than a chatterbait? I'm not going to argue that, but sometimes they like that minnow, just that minnow presentation with that chatter, and that's when I go to this, and it seems to really work, especially when bass are schooling and suspended. They seem to like it.
So again, you get these chatterbait heads, whatever tackle outlet. Of course, I love Omni. Omni is our sponsor here, but these are really good, and you can just make this chatter swim yourself, whatever swim bait that you like to use. So the second bait I'd like to talk to you about is the swim jig, the big hair jig. I have really fell in love with this hair jig. A few episodes ago in the middle of the summer, I caught an 8 and a 9 pounder on this hair jig. But what I found is it's a great lure for suspended bass too. And all I do with this hair jig is I just throw it out wherever I think the bass are, where I think they're suspended at, and I just rip it through the depth that they're at. So if it's, if it's shallow enough, I'll let it go all the way to the bottom, and I'll just rip it up to maybe, 7 or 8 feet up where they're right in the water column where they're at. Or if it's not, if it's real deep, I'll just figure out what depth it is that it's working in, and just pump it, just rip it right through the water column, and it really works. And I've caught a lot of fish this summer on this. Like I said, I caught an 8 and a 9 pounder, and I've caught a 7 pounder on this, and lots of bass on this. It's been a really good bait for me this year. But just ripping it through the water column real fast, the bass just really jump up on it. Now here's a couple examples of catches that I had, I think back-to-back catches on the swim jig, and you'll see the technique that I use to catch the bass on the swim jig.
Big bass. The old hair jig comes through. Not a big bass, but at least a 3. Let's see, it might be 3. Yeah, about 2.5, 3 pounder. Yeah. Ah, come on, buddy. Sorry, you don't come. It'll be all right. Ah, 2.5. You nailed it. Hard for them to resist that big hair jig. You see me catch giants on this before. It's still a good bait. I've just been picking up and throwing different things at fish, seeing what works out. Oh boy, that's big. That's big. That's got to be a pike or something. It's big, whatever it is. I've got it foul hooked. Let's see what it is. Is it a catfish? No, it's a bass. It's a bass. I've got him foul hooked. It's about a 4 pounder too. Look at that. Sorry, buddy. How about a 3.5 pounder? Yeah. About a 3.5 pounder. Nice bass. On the hair jig again, 2 straight casts.
So the next bait I like to use to catch the spinning bass is not going to be a surprise to any of you, and that's the good old jerkbait. Now jerkbait you can get down in different depths. This is the Berkeley Stunner, and this is the 8 to 10 foot range. It's got a little deeper bill there to get it down a little bit deeper. The reason I like this jerkbait is it sinks, it doesn't float. So it doesn't kind of float up when you pause, because what I like to do is I get a really good long cast, and I get this down to that 8, 10 foot, whatever I need to get it down to get to those suspended bass, and then I just bring it back hard, erratic jerks all the way back to the boat, and that will usually cause just a giant slam, and the bass just attack it. So here's a look at a catch, I think this just a day or two ago, that I caught a nice bass on a jerkbait. Take a look.
That's big, whatever it is. Big bass. Oh, there we go. Not that big, but pretty big. That's a nice one right there. Good 3.5 pounder at least. Got him on the jerkbait. About 8 foot deep. I've been spotting these guys. Finally got a hold of one. Nice 3 pounder. Thought he was bigger than that the way he slammed that. Get on out of here. It is fall and they are biting.
And the last bit I'm going to share with you, I catch a lot of fish on, period, year round, and that's the Swimbait. You watch my channel, you know I like the Kitch Easy Shiner, and I hooked this Kitch Easy Shiner on a 3/0 EWG hook with a Ned head hook, and I really enjoy this lure. I catch just a lot of fish on it. Catch a lot of bass on this. And what I like to do when the bass are suspended is I will throw the Kitch out and just throw it out. And this is a 3/16 head. This is a small weighted head. It's not really heavy. And I let this flutter down to the depth that the bass are at. And I'll usually give it one pump, one like midway, halfway up pump with my rod. And then if I don't get a strike on that, I let it fall back down and I give it a full pump of the rod. And I'll kind of mix that up all the way back in, and it didn't take long. If they're down there, they can't lay off this Kitch Easy Shiner. It's got a lot of action, and I catch a lot of fish. And I really like it when the bass are suspended. It really, really does a great job, especially when they're chasing shad. And you can get this in any color. This is the Tennessee Shiner, Arkansas Shiner color, I think, on this one. But I like these because they come in a lot of colors too. So here's a cut of me catching a couple bass on the Kitch Easy Shiner. You can see the technique that I use to catch them. Take a look.
Yeah, another nice 2-pounder. Come on, buddy. Come on. Another nice fat 2-pounder. Just gorging himself with those shad. Look how fat that guy's belly is. He is just gorging himself with shad. That's a nice, that's a good 2-pound bass. 15-incher. Yeah, 15-inch bass. Catch them on that Kitch out there. They're suspended chasing shad. Nice bass. Thank you, buddy. Come on. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bass. Thank you, Mr. Bass. Oh, boy, he inhaled that. Let me get the old pliers out. There you go. Another nice 1.5-pounder on the Kitch. Can't beat that.
Hey everyone, that's just 4 of many lures you can utilize to catch suspended bass. A lot of you are probably thinking, what about the regular crankbait or a lipless crankbait? Yes, they work, and a lot of people throw them. These are 4 alternative baits that you can have in your tackle box to help you catch suspended bass and provide a different presentation to the fish that you're fishing for. Sometimes that different presentation will get that big bite and help you land that big bass. Well, hey everybody, thanks for stopping back by the channel. And until next time, tight lines and good luck fishing.